Is good fielding in cricket in South Africa underappreciated? South Africa has had many great fielders in the past. Famously, we can think about the iconic Jonty Rhodes, which kind of led the next generation of fielders. We had the likes of A.B. de Villiers, who basically took that mantle and was an excellent fielder too, as well. We can also look at the guys that were in the slips, like the likes of Jacques Kallis, who has the most amount of catches in the history of South African cricket with 196. We've got the likes of Graham Smith, who sits second on that list with 166 catches in 116 games. Of course, A.B. de Villiers is on this list. Hashim Amla. Herschel Gibbs was an amazing fielder. Put a lot of hard work in there. Gary Kirsten is on this list too. The next with 101 matches, 83 catches. Dean Algo's on this list. Sean Pollock. So many. Faf du Plessis, we know, a charismatic fielder. We've got the likes of Temba Bavuma, who's shown his ability in the field too, being an excellent performer when it comes to running around and having a certain amount of quality in the field. So many guys we can speak of. But what I want to talk about in this particular video is particularly talking about the intensity. Because cricket is a team sport, we know that it is. That is something that we have to agree on, and everybody has to agree on. And what happens in the end is that you have to find a way to get the team together and make sure that they perform together as a unit. And I think fielding is very important when it comes to this. Fielding is so important to get the team together and to get a certain standard up when it comes to cricket. Now, that's what we're going to be speaking about today, because I think that's very important, that the standards of fielding needs to always be very high. And standard of fielding always needs to be at a certain level. That's what we're going to be talking about on today's video. So I'm really excited to talk about that. If you guys are new to this channel, click subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos. Let's get straight into today's content. Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid. This is your co-host Aditya, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. Now today we thought that we'd bring you an episode where it talks about fielding, because I feel that it is quite underappreciated, hardly ever spoken about, and we normally always talking about bowling and batting specifically all the time, and when players fail with regards to that changes a game. But good fielding can change a game too. Clinical fielding performances can change a game. Bad fielding performances can lose matches for a team. And yet we only speak about fielding when someone does make a mistake, unless someone does something spectacular in the field, like a Superman Faf du Plessis catch, or a diving catch in the slips, like a Spider-Man catch in the slips. There's not much that we speak about when it comes to fielding. Intensity of fielding, I feel, is so important to bring a team together and to build a winning mentality. I feel that particularly if you are fielding first, to set the standard on the day is so important. And Werner sums it up perfectly in the comment section. He says, our fielding standards have always been high, but it has really slipped in the last year, which is a very disappointing. We are at our best when we are attacking in the field and take all of our catches. Now, it means a lot to someone like Werner, someone that has been supporting cricket for a long time. And I'm sure it will mean a lot to all of you. So, Aditya, what's your thoughts on fielding? Because I think that there was a time or period when India wasn't considered necessarily a good fielding side, but that has changed a hell of a lot over the years. What is your thoughts on this, and how important has it become, especially in the modern day limited overs game?
And that's exactly why I thought this is such an important topic to discuss, because growing up, India was always considered to be a safe fielding side with respect to its catching record. It had a great catching record, but ground fielding was always a challenge, because uh, players from the subcontinent were not considered to be naturally athletic. So I grew up watching great teams, great Australian teams, great South African teams, New Zealand as well, who were just phenomenal fielding sides. And South Africa, when I was growing up, had Jonty Rhodes and Herschel Gibbs, and then later on Justin Ontong and Abel de Villiers. And to be Faf du Plessis was probably the last of those really iconic fielders in South African cricket. But it's so important because one is that you need to take all the catches that come your way, and great fielders like Gibbs and De Villiers and Faf du Plessis, they also take their half chances, and that does so much for a team's morale. It does so much to improve your chances of winning. But most importantly, I think the degree of athleticism that that I grew up watching in South African cricket seems to have dropped over the years, and that to me is disappointing because uh, I've always I've always known South Africans to play multiple sports, with cricket, rugby, soccer, and so on. And so the average South African tends to be significantly more athletic than the average Indian, and that's why I think the intensity of the fielding that we've seen in the last couple of years from South Africa hasn't been particularly impressive. But I hope, but given that Timber and a number of other players have sort of brought that up, has is probably encouraging, and I hope that we see the same standards that we're used to from South African cricket.
Yeah, I agree. I think that those standards they set the precedent for the whole entire match. It shows the enthusiasm, the quality within the team gets vamped up if you've had a good fielding performance. We saw how South Africa's fielded poorly in some of the matches when we played against the West Indies. Particularly, also, I want to talk about maybe Ireland, the match that we lost to Ireland in the second ODI. I think that was something also that I felt lost us the game when it comes to that. I mean, when I look at the white ball arena, I was speaking about test arena. That's why maybe someone like David Miller didn't pop up, maybe, or someone from that standard didn't pop up because I was talking about test cricket at first. But when I look at one day internationals, when I look at some of the great fielders of the time, it's difficult to look at to say what is necessarily determines a good fielder, because my identification of it is not necessarily only catches. It's not only runouts. It's also got to do with the intensity at running in at the ball, stopping singles, stopping the second runs, making sure that you stop boundaries, running across the boundary and sweeping. There's not a lot of stats to prove that and show that. That all counts. I think what's more important to me is the stopping of runs, preventing runs from happening than actual catches. But when we look at the top guys in South African cricket for catches, Jacques Kallis tops the Test arena and he tops the ODI arena for catches with 131 and 319. But that's only 0.4 catches per innings. Herschel Gibbs in 248 matches, 108 catches. He averages 0.43 in innings. Then we've got the likes of Graham Smith, who is also on this in 196 matches, 105 catches, 0.5 in innings. Jonty Rhodes is on this list, Sean Pollock, Hashim Amla, JP Dumni, Faf du Plessis, Abel de Villiers, Cronje is on this list, and David Miller is on this list, if I'm looking at the top 11 rank. So you can see the type of players that have been put into this category because the majority of them are standing in the slips. So you can appreciate the likes of maybe Abel de Villiers, but Abel de Villiers, I think that the catches will also, I wonder if the catches they add here are also included with his time as a wicketkeeper. If that's also included in it as well. But I don't think you only look at those things. It's not only about numbers of catches. It's also about the way they perform now. I really love the way David Miller stops boundaries. The way he comes out and stops massive runs from happening. When balls are going towards the boundary, going for six, and he stops it with the acrobatics stop on the boundary, or he runs in quickly and he stops the single. Those are all things, okay, not single so much, but more the second run. But those are the things that I appreciate, and that's the intensity that I'd like to see. Timba Bavuma is like a live wire in the field. He stops a lot of, with regards to infielders and etc. You need to stop in the ring, especially in the power plays. It's so important to be able to stop those things. I've seen how Aiden Markram is turning into a magnificent fielder, stopping runs and all of those stuff as well. So we want clinical performances. I've seen an improvement to an extent, even in Tabrei Shamsi's consistency in the field. He still makes mistakes now and again, but there has been improved performances in his fielding, and I hope it does that does improve. Ashwell Prince was also an amazing fielder as well. So there's so many guys that we can speak about and mention that were good fielders in the past. Justin Ontong himself is now the coach, and I'm hoping that we can create the consistency in our game to let that happen. I feel that in World Cups, especially in the World Cup, if we can have our A game in the field, we'll be stopping so many more runs, and that's so important to us having an advantage in these tournaments. It's just practice, isn't it, Aditya? That's the only way we can obviously get better and high intensity in it, is not?
Yeah, feeling is also confidence, discipline, and sometimes when results don't go your way, or there've been a few misfields, or there've been a few drop catches, that tends to have trickle down effect on the rest of the team as well, which is generally not ideal. So it's important for it's most important for fielders to really take catches under pressure. And to me, sometimes the hardest catches are the ones when you're under pressure, but you're actually taking a skyer. Those catches to me are the hardest, because you've got time to think, and that's when the pressure really creeps in, and you feel like this fielder has dropped a sitter. No, ordinarily, the fielder would not have dropped that catch, but because of the situation in the game, it's playing on his mind, the fielder was focusing on more than just the ball. So, we often remember the reflex catches, like the flying catches in the circle, or those diving catches. But sometimes those are easier to execute because you don't really have time to think. Your body's just flying towards the ball. But it's the high catches, to me, that I find really fascinating, because they're a lot harder in that sense. When the game is on the line and the ball is up in the air, you know that you can catch it, but that pressure just gets to you. It's that makes me the most nervous. And I'll tell you, when I was watching the 2015 World Cup semi-final between South Africa and New Zealand, Grant Elliott and Corey Anderson stitched up a partnership, and Corey Anderson hit his half century, and then he mistimed the ball, hit a top edge, went miles in the air, and Faf du Plessis I think it was a deep square leg. He ran into square leg, and it felt like an hour had passed while the ball was coming down. and I was just hoping that he would catch. I was just hoping that he would catch that ball. But when he finally caught it, you could see the sense of relief on his face. And that to me is exactly the sort of temperament that a fielder needs to have. When the ball is in the air, you know that you have the skill to catch it, but do you have the temperament to really just focus on the ball and leave everything else out?
Mm-hmm. And also, someone like David Miller, he makes it look so easy. Those eye catches, it looks so simple for him, especially when he's on the boundary, and you're thinking that's going for six, and then all of a sudden that ball's in David Miller's hands, and he makes it look so easy. That's why when he drops one, it's so shocking, because you don't expect that to happen. You expect him to be on his top form consistently. And also, like Werner says in the comments over here, he says catches over the shoulder especially is very hard to be able to judge that and recover. That's also very important. But guys, I would like to know who some of your favorite fielders in South African history is. Let us know in the comment section what you think about that. Who are some of the best fielders that you've ever seen play for South Africa in all generations? And also give us an indication of why you think that there was. What was it about them? Was it the way they took catches? Was it the way they ran with intensity in the field? Was it the way they threw the ball back quickly to the wickets, or was it their ability to have runouts? Because those are things that Jonty Rhodes made very famous. So let us know in the comment section what you guys believe Who do you guys believe? What is your top five, or what is your top five or six or 10 even of fielders for South Africa? Also, don't forget to download the latest issue of the magazine. Cricket Fanatics Magazine Monthly is available to all of our viewers. It's 100% free. Guys, this is what Cricket Fanatics Magazine is all about. It's our digital magazine every month. It's our main thing. It's our main indication of what we have to offer. So please subscribe. Please become a fan, because that's where you'll get deep insights and deep and exclusive interviews of untold stories in South African cricket, as well as some insights into the game that you will never ever get anywhere else in this country. So please go ahead and download that magazine. 100% free, including back issues. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. Enjoy the rest of your week and stay safe, everybody. Cheers.